Be conscious of what you desire and watch your reality change. Let's start June with connecting to the desire, shall we? Because if you really want to attract the love that you want, if you want to make money that you want, if you want to experience life the way you want and create a different reality, it's very important that you disconnect, unplug from the emotional pain and generational sexual shame you inherited. That's the only way you can create a different reality from what you inherited. Otherwise, you're going to go through life creating what you know. Consciously, you want love. You're excited. You do the mindset work. You've got this. You journal. You've got all these vision boards and all that. Whew, quite interesting. Because what is coming through first thing, like the third eye, which is talking about perceptions and all that. And that's the whole thing again, you know, you get to have a different perception about life for you to really experience life differently. What are you connected to? What are you creating from? And I don't want you to go into your mind and tell me stories. I want you to come back into the body, right? Because when you're talking about the desire, we're talking about the feeling, the sensations, the being with the experience of that which you are calling forth, as if it has already happened. It's not here. Is your body on board? Does it have the capacity? Do you feel safe? Do you feel excited? Do you feel turned on by that? And what is it that you want? For some of you joining me for the first time, Haumoteme is my name, an intimacy and income alchemist and a psychic surgeon. I'm the kind of person who gets to see what you don't see, hear what your body is saying, release it at its core. Because you know too much. You've journaled, you've heard lots of stories. But now, when it comes to giving birth to that baby, you gotta conceive it. This is where the rubber hits the road. Are you able to be with that which wants to be born through you? Right? It's not about just I want it. It's am I open to it? Do I have the capacity for that? Am I okay with other people not even liking me for who I'm being? Or I'm afraid of not being loved, of not being accepted. And then you bind with misery. This is why I said your soul wants extraordinary love and prosperity for you. But your wounds are keeping you loyal to pain. And it's quite interesting because there are two things that are happening today, just jumping in. This is flipping Ray. Because often when I jump on a session, as much as I'm talking to you, I'm more following the energy. And whoever that you're listening, it's quite interesting. Whoever's going to listen to this or you are listening to this right now, two things are popping up. Your third eye, your perception, and your connection to source, to God, the universe, higher self, highest intelligence, whatever you call it, it doesn't matter. Which tells me that the people that are listening today, you are ready. You are ready. There is just like some minor tweaks that you get to do. Minor tweaks that you get to do to connect to that God self, the extraordinary self, the aspect of yourself that is ready to experience the life that you desire, that is ready to receive all that you desire. Right? That's where the energy is. Connection to source, the mouth of God, and your third eye. They are calling for you. And let's shift those perceptions. Because some of you, sometimes you are running around in the clouds. You are not able to bring that which is to your body. Some of you, you ignore your body, basically abandon it and run with being in the clouds, being in the higher realms. And you forget that for you to manifest that, to give birth to that, you got to be here in the body. This is why in the previous days I mentioned the punishing God, right? You may be driven by what they did to me. I want to prove them wrong. And while you are busy being driven by that, wanting to prove a point, you're not coming from what you want. You're coming from survival. And that keeps you in those silly, whether it's intimacy or prosperity, because they are one frequency. Are you connected to your desire? Do you have the capacity? Do you feel safe? Right? Are you open to be supported? Because it's not even about, I don't trust anyone, people, whatever stories that you have, my family, this and that. Because when you're talking about the interconnectedness, the oneness, one affects the other. And we've been trained, conditioned to ignore the God self, the you, and then you search for something better outside of you. This is why I love to ask you a question, or simple question. How can you hear God if you can't hear yourself? How can you commit to your partner and honor your promises if you can't even honor the promises to the self, the most important person? Because the world treats you how you treat yourself. If you think something or someone is much more important than you, then guess what's going to happen, right? And this brings me to one conversation I had with a magnificent lady today. We were just talking about the Du und ich und wir. That is you and I and we, right? Often when people are in relationship, we forget the you and I. We become like the we, right? You abandon yourself, you focus on him, and you forget that you are your own individual person. This is why I always emphasize freedom of individuality. Even when people talk about couples counseling, I'm not against it, but at the end of the day, if you don't know who you are and you're trying to resolve your problems as a couple, you don't even know who the fuck you are, right? We often rush to be in a relationship, to get married, and all before we even know the I. We rush to find jobs and all that before we find who we are and what we are here for, before we can listen to the purpose. We're filled with information. This is why we know a lot. And that's the problem. I know. Even right now, when I talk about self-love, you'll be like, oh, I know, and I love myself. And then there is a part of you that has been denied, suppressed, that is not heard, that you're ashamed of. The part of you that is grieving, the part of you that is still hurting from the ex-husband, partner, lover who left you. The part of you that is wearing the I am strong mask. I'm intelligent. I've got these qualifications. Oh, me. I don't feel for anybody. But you are hurting, baby. But you are not willing to just sit and listen to the little girl who is crying. You are ignoring that little part of yourself and telling it, shut up. We are strong. And that's exactly what your mother said. That's exactly what your father said. That's exactly what the society said. There is something, that holiness that wants to come through. There is something that you desire, but you are not able to receive it. And when you give yourself a moment to just be with that, what you often say to yourself is, I'm being shameless. That's a part of you that gets to just like give you that little bit of a minute. I was just being shameless. Were you being shameless? Or were you just being passionate and allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to be with the desire? And I always tell people that if you are disconnected from your sexual energy, you are disconnected from yourself. You are disconnected from God. You are disconnected from the beauty, the pleasure the love, the creativity. Love begets love and pleasure begets pleasure. And one thing that I keep on reminding you of is the level that you are truly free, is the level that you are truly joyful. And that is the level that you're truly loving. And if you are not free to be yourself, if you are surrounded with the people that you cannot even fully express yourself, if you cannot fully, confidently share your truth, what are you doing? Why waste a lifetime? Be surrounded by a lot of people, but not even a single person knowing who you are. Sometimes it can be as simple as your partner never knowing who you are. Sometimes it can be with a partner who dismiss, criticize your truth. Like I experienced where when I spoke about accounting, it's something that my ex-husband took pride in. She's an accountant. But if we come in to talk about spirituality and all that, I could feel the shame as thick. It was not something that made him proud. And in his words, he was saying, that's just a fantasy. Let go. Right? But I knew my truth. And what is your truth? So back to the conversation that I had with a lovely person that I had a conversation with. And it's quite interesting because she was in the moment sharing the experience, the visions that she had about this book that she gets to write. And I could feel the energy that was just pulsating, coming through, the energy that was coming through, her feminine energy opening up to receive this as she was lighting up. I traced the energy as she was speaking. And before, like all of a sudden, my hand just, because I'm with her, I felt her hand just push those desires away. And immediately, when I traced the energy, it took me back to the masculine. It was stopping her to move forward. And we can go to the masculine and talk about her partner, or we can talk about her ex-husband. But at the end of the day, it's the same pattern. It doesn't start with the ex-husband, it starts with where she was, what she was born into. We go back there. The parents that she felt never really loved her. The parents that she felt she had to every time overdo for her to be seen, to be accepted. And when she says, now it's time for me to look at myself, it's not about what she's saying, it's about the imprints that she's carrying, right? And they're holding her back. And when I trace this energy, it takes me back to the ancestral, paternal. And some of you are making love with your emotional pain. You are making love with generational sexual shame. Every single day. You tell yourself that I'm strong. I'm going to go ahead and do what I love. But at the end of the day, you are being with that. And I'm not saying get out of it. Because it may not be about that partner. It's about what you care and what you were born into. And then you had other relationship, whether it was with your husband of 20 years, 30 years, 5 years, whatever, however long that you were together while you were busy saying 10 years anniversary. You forgot the pain that you celebrated the years, quantity. But I'm always talking about the quality. How many of those years were you more of you? You understand? And often when I'm having this conversation, what I hear from most women, including myself, is that even in the moment when you're getting married, you knew that that wasn't for you. But what did you do? You ignored your intuition. Just like you ignore your inner child, right? Just like you've denied aspects of yourself. You ignored that voice that said, this ain't for you. And you may be looking for a partner, but you still continue to ignore. When somebody comes and you know this ain't the one, you tell yourself, it may be the one, maybe I'm just being, fearful and all that. The moment you start reasoning and all that, the logic and all that, you're taking yourself out of something that your body knows. The fact that you can't explain how you know what you know, then you dismiss it. But there is a price for that. I've paid so many prices for something, even when it comes to a job, when it comes to relationships. There's so many things where I heard this voice so loudly and I ignored it. But I fucking paid. Because there is a price that you're going to pay at the end. You can either pay the price that is liberating, that inspiration, or you can follow the desperation, but at the end of the day, it's going to be double, triple, or even more. Why wait until your knees hit the floor? So while I was talking to this person about this imprints that were showing up, some of it was showing up as pain in the physical body. What came through was, actually, this is not even yours. You may not even be aware, like you don't feel it in your body because it belongs to your partner. But you are carrying the financial block. You are carrying the energy that resent that which you want. And here's the funny thing when I say you can't make this shit up. I said what I said, and then at the end, I said you get to release. I say the name, it's energy. I'll just say John this time around. I'll say you have to release John's energy, right? And she stopped and said, "Did I tell you his name?" I'm like, "No." And he said, "But that's the name. It's his name, the name that you just said. You can't make this shit up, right? You are in a relationship. You are trying to process your partner's pain. You are carrying his emotional pain, his generational sexual shame, all this stuff on top of what you were born into. And you want to go create an extraordinary life. And probably you get pissed off and you're like, I'm not going to sit with this. I'm strong. I'm independent. I love myself. You move on. You're not only carrying what you're born into, you are carrying your ex's stuff. Shit, for lack of a better word. And then you think that you're going to find somebody else and things are going to be better. What are you carrying? And what would it be like for you to let go? Because for you to have space to receive more, you got to release what isn't yours. You got to release what doesn't save you. You got to release what you were born into. When you're talking about creating an extraordinary life, it's you aligning with your unique signature blueprint of the wealth, the love, the joy, the peace, the creativity that your soul knows you are here to experience. But you are busy holding into what you are born into. You are afraid of not being loved. You'd rather make love and be loyal to pain. You'd rather hold on to the vows of suffering, of sacrifices. You'd rather look back and say, who is coming with me? Instead of moving ahead. Like I said, it is for you, for your liberation, for your legacy. You've got a choice to pass on to whatever that was passed on to you, or to be the one who says it ends here. It ends with me, because you were not born for you to repeat the pain that your parents, your grandparents carried or experienced. They went through that shit so that you can experience better. But you better say yes to yourself. Do not waste that pain. And this reminds me of one vision that I had where I ended up in a supermarket and I saw these beautiful pictures of women. And I started putting these pictures and just putting them down, and I was stepping on them and they were propelling me forward. And that's the whole thing about liberation. Use the pain, the tears, the sacrifices of those who went before you, for you to do something that they've never experienced. Be the one to carve a new path. It takes courage. And you've got the courage because you survived a lot of shit. You are focusing on the shit that doesn't pay you, that doesn't shape you, that doesn't feed or nurture your soul. So now imagine if you focus that attention on you, the most important person. Some of you, you've long, like relationships that ended 10, 20 years ago, marriages that ended 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Sometimes they ended way back, but you still together. Sometimes you moved away, but you still carrying him. He still got access to your energy. When he calls your name and say whatever shit that he says, it's you feeling disgusted about yourself, but it's not even your energy. Because when you are having sex, when you had sex, when your body said no, when you felt disgusted about even the touch, when you didn't even want to kiss him, but you just like, as long as he can just put it in, I'll just hold on. Is he done yet? Just opening your eyes. Is it done yet? And then you turn around. You don't even want to touch yourself. Even when you bath, it's like, ew. Where do you think that energy is going? Right? It's you taking all that. The energy, the emotions, the anger that he had when he was thrusting in and out of you. We better talk about this. The emotion, the pain, anger from maybe with his mother or whoever. And then he comes and just pours it out on you. And then you take the same energy you want to create a different reality. What kind of reality? Yet you feel like shit. You feel dirty. You even regret opening your legs just because you're horny. Now it's like, shit, I went through 5 years without sleeping with this man, and all of a sudden after 5 years he just comes and whatever shit that he did, you didn't even come. Another thing could be as simple as, this is a conversation with another awesome lady. She said, I'm giving a lot in this marriage. And I've got this resentment. I don't even want to have sex because I feel like I'm giving a lot. It's like I'm working hard, earning money, doing a lot in the house and all that. Now I have to give up sex on top of that. No. But you know what that did? It shut her energy from even her business, from her receiving the money that she wanted in her business. That's why I'm saying when you shut off your sexual energy, you shut off your ability, your capacity to receive not only love, but your beauty. Not only beauty, your wealth. Not only that, your pleasure and the prosperity that you need. And we know that a lot of us were born into religious system that shamed us, sometimes just for being a girl. Right? And if you naturally have this energy, you may have attracted a lot of people who were attracted to this energy. They came to heal in it, but they were not willing to commit, especially that the emotionally unavailable partners often they don't want passion. You scare the shit out of them. But you also didn't know how to use this energy to create more of what you desire. You thought that you were loved. Many people just love me. There's so many men that just want to be with me. Do they want to be with you? Do you even know who you are? Do you show people who you are? Or you meant that they just want to sleep with you? They want to heal in your energy? Because this is also a healing energy. If you ain't going to use it, somebody's going to come, heal in it, and fucking leave. And guess what's going to happen? Your business is going to have a dry spell. I'm stuck. This is silly. And then they go and prosper. And you see them with somebody. And then you get pissed off. I need this person. Why can't you use that energy on you? What's possible? If you just call forth your energy, your attention. That's why we love to say pay attention. Right? That's a currency. Your sexual energy is also a currency. On where your focus is, energy goes. And where is your focus? That's what I want to ask you. Your soul wants extraordinary ordinary love and prosperity, but your wounds are keeping you loyal to pain, your vows, contracts, agreements. You want to carry your whole family with you, but they want what's familiar, what's normal. That's why some of them can look at you and laugh. I just remember the other time, like some years ago, when I started going for therapy, it was a joke that was used at home where someone will talk to a child and say, we'll take you to this counselor, and that was like a jab at me, because there was this whole belief that if you go for therapy, then you are crazy. So sometimes you gotta be okay with being crazy. I've been called crazy so many times, and I'm comfortable with it. I'm okay with that. I'd rather be crazy than be who I'm not. I'd rather be crazy than be in a room where I cannot be myself, be surrounded by people who do not even know who the fuck I am, who do not even love me because I'm not showing up as I am, where I'm contracted, be in a relationship where it's just a relationship, but then there is so much suppressed hate. And then you are surprised, like one lady said, I don't know why I always find a job where I have to find shit that has been pushed under the carpet and I have to clean it up. And I said, look at yourself. Where are you avoiding things? And it was not surprising because it's the same story where I said I saw her hand moving, pushing away all that she desires, despite all of that coming through. All, the great things that she wants, all that she's been called to receive. The energy was coming through, but her masculine did not have the structure to hold space for her to have more. And I always say, no matter what you want, if you do not have the container to receive the water that is flowing in, it's gonna go to a waste. You may have ideas, you may receive insights, but you have the capacity. Some of you go around and listen to coaches saying this, or regulate your nervous system. Oh, I have to regulate my nervous system. How can you regulate a nervous system that is still plugged into trauma, abuse? Like one lady who also told me that, oh, I have to regulate my nervous system. But when I checked in, I realized that the masculine and the feminine are not together at all because of the trauma that happened. And this is what makes my work different. Because it's not about theory, it's not information, it's not affirmations. It's what energy are you holding into? You want love that's liberating, conscious, a man that is intentional? Do you have the capacity for that kind of person? That's what your body's gonna share. You want your business to make 100,000 per month? Do you have the capacity for that? Because when you're talking about being an entrepreneur, business will bring all the wounds. And sometimes it's ancestors who will come through. I don't like money, but you want money. Some of you may be healers, but your ancestors have been killed for being healers. And they're coming through fighting that you cannot excel in that. Some were loved for what they had, and they're afraid that the same thing that is going to happen to you. Some have made vows to be slaves because one of the king, queen, whoever gave them something that they cherished, and they were just so happy that me and my children and grandchildren will serve you until, and you are still bound to that vow. And this is where we get to neutralize and clear it. So, what is your intention? Are you conscious with your desire? Are you comfortable to talk about what you desire, or you are hanging around the people that you have to hide from? You are present and available for everyone, but not yourself. And or when you need help, no one is there for you. Sometimes it's just the ego. You want to feel better because everybody needs you, which is different from they love me. They just need you because of what you provide. That's the rescuer frequency mask that you get to release. Okay? So if you want to jump into the experience so that we can clear all this shit, so that we can have space for more, for expansive love, you can have the space to receive more money, hit me with the experience and I'll send you more details. Because it's time that you rise above the wounds. It's time that you rise above the vows. It's time that you remember who the fuck you You are not here to repeat the patterns that your ancestors experienced. You are not here to repeat the dysfunction. You are not here to beg for love. You are not here to sacrifice who you are to sustain a relationship that doesn't deserve you. But you gotta say yes to yourself. You gotta commit to yourself. You gotta pay the price for your expansion. Otherwise, you're gonna pay the price from desperation, and desperation begets more desperation. Much love.